Well, can we start, Chetrali madam?
Yes, sir. You can start, sir.
Okay. Uh, let's see how many participants are there. 68. Okay. Uh, Good morning, all. This is the day 7 session uh, on the national level boot camp on computer network and information security. And I would be today's presenter, Ramkrishna Vadali. I'm taking up as we have started from the basic network, and we are trying to explore till how the network functions, what all the basic components of the network. We have tried to cover all the aspects which are possible with the network scenario. I'll turn off my video so that the bandwidth and rest of the things will be taken care of. Okay, please respond. Are you able to hear me clear? Please respond in the chat box, participants. Yeah, okay, great. All right, so I'll be turning off my video and we'll start. Okay. So yeah, so we have started with the basic networking aspect, that what all topologies are there, what are the components, what are the aspects of networking. Then we had gone through the various layers of OSI and TCP/IP model, and then we had gone through the various aspects of the simulations, that how the simulation can happen when we are talking about the computer network. Since if you want to do if you want to design a huge network, it's little bit difficult to get the all the equipments on board. Okay, so that's the reason we have opted for the simulator. So then Katti madam and Pise madam, they have Jayashree Katti madam and Rohini Pise madam, they have started with the security aspect, the basic security aspect. So now in today's session, what we are going to cover, we are going to cover about the network security, that is the computer network security, that how the security plays a very important role when it comes to a network of communication, or when it comes to the network. All right. So when we say computer network security, the primary or the major concern that comes into the picture is your computer network security. So it consists of measures taken by the business or some organization to monitor and prevent the unauthorized access from the outside attackers. Okay, because many a times what happens that whenever you try to access certain websites, whenever you try to access any of the websites rather, okay, and if the end-to-end security or the encryption or the connection, whatever you call, or session, whatever, okay, if it is not properly maintained and managed, then there is every possibility that your data can be compromised. Okay, so that's the reason this computer security, network security, computer network security rather, plays a very essential role when you are talking about your no matter how you are rendering the services, whether it is in wired mode, wireless mode, or satellite communication, or anything. Okay, so basically the major idea is to prevent your information from the outside attackers. So when you talk about the approaches, so different approaches to computer network security management, having different requirements depending on the size of the network. Okay, so when we are talking about size of the network, it starts from your home office. Okay, it starts from your home, your office. Okay, which requires the basic network security. But when you talk about large business, okay, it requires high maintenance to prevent the network from malicious attacks. Okay, because as soon as your size of network, okay, the various aspects which is required to be considered before you basically transmit or send various information across the network. Okay, so when you are talking about network administrators, okay, so network administrator, this guy's role is very essential. Okay, so this network administrator basically controls the access to the data and the software on the network. For exercising the control. Okay, he must be using various softwares, various protocols, various tools which is going to help him, okay, to control the data and provide proper security. Okay, so if you talk about the role of network administrator, so basically what he does, he will assign a user ID and the password to the authorized persons only. Okay, in many of us organizations, if you try to access any of the data over the network, so definitely you try to access it by using user IDs and the passwords. If you talk about firewalls and all, okay, nowadays every organization, every institute, if you belongs to an institute, if you belongs to a software organization, everywhere the firewalls are in place. Okay, so now this is most important aspect. Okay, so they must be having the firewalls, and on the basis of the firewall, your information or your way of communication will be ensured at the various levels, at the various level, at the by applying various security principles. Okay, so and if you talk about the providing the user ID and the password, so we are aware at this point of time that there are 7 layers. Okay, 7 layers of the OSI model and 4 or 5 layers of TCP/IP model. Okay, so when we talk about the firewalls, the firewall works over and above your 7th layer, that is the application layer. Okay, so till the application layer, your data will be sent, your data will be accessed, the encryptions will be ensured. Now when you go out of the 7th layer, it means when you enter into any kind of transmission mode, so the authentication number one is very much essential, and there your login ID and password will comes into the picture. So nowadays, what people are talking about, that your 8th layer also exists, which is known as the authentication layer. Okay, and over this authentication layer, your credentials will be ensured, managed, and properly maintained. Okay. Now, if you talk about the aspects of network security, so your aspects of network security, when we are saying, so it entirely divided up into 4 different parts. That is privacy, your integrity, the messages in integrity, the authentication, and the non-repudiation. Okay. So when we are saying the privacy, so privacy is nothing but privacy means both the sender and receiver expects the confidentiality. Okay. So if I'm trying to send any information to you, I should I should know that to whom I am sending it. Number one, and number two, that I should be aware that how the confidentiality is being maintained. So that's the reason when you talk about accessing the websites, accessing the web contents. So at many of the places, you will see that the privacy statement, okay, the confidentiality statement, the what all contents will be exposed, what all contents will not be exposed, what are the privacy norms. Okay, so accordingly, your information will be controlled, accessed, and managed. Okay, so the transmitted message should be sent only to the intended receiver, while the message should be opaque for other users. It means it should not be available for other users. Its opaque is unclear. It should be unclear for other users. Only intended users are supposed to understand that what message has been sent. Okay, so intended receiver rather. Okay, so therefore there is a requirement to encrypt the message so that the message cannot be intercepted. Okay, so this aspect of confidentiality is commonly used to achieve the secure communication. Okay, so we will go into more details of the privacy in the later slides. Okay, so next part is message integrity. So when you are saying integrity, so your data, okay, data integrity you are talking about, so it means that your data must arrive at the receiver as exactly it was sent. Okay, so you should be aware, or you should be sending the way the data, the receiver is going to receive the data in the same manner without any disturbance. Okay, so there must be no changes in the data content during the transmission, either maliciously or accidentally during the transfer. Okay, during the transfer of the information. Okay, because why? Because as there are more and more monetary exchanges over the internet these days. Okay, so your data integrity is more crucial. Okay, because nowadays during this COVID and all, your digital transfer, digitally paying to various shopkeepers, you try to you try to go to some grocery store, you try to buy some groceries, and you try to make a payment. So all payments are happening through digital, in a digital, okay, through the internet. That is there, the crucial information will be sent across the network, your account information. So there the integrity plays a very essential role. Okay, so the data integrity must be preserved for secure conversation. Okay, so secure exchange of information. Okay, or the secure communication. Okay, next point is end-to-end authentication. Okay, so end-to-end authentication. So where when we talk about authentication, it means that the receiver is sure of the sender's identity. Okay. So if I am receiving certain information, I must be sure that from where I am receiving the information. Otherwise, probably I'll mark it as spam or something else. Okay, that is, no imposter has sent the message. Means I should be knowing that from whom I am receiving the data. Okay, and for end-to-end authentication also, you require various protocols, various softwares, various tools that might be used. Next very important aspect, that is the non-repudiation. So non-repudiation, when you are saying, it means that the receiver must be able to prove that received message has come from a specific sender. Okay, so the sender must not deny sending a message that he or she sent. Okay, and the burden of proving the identity comes on the receiver. So whoever will be receiving, he is going to prove the identity. Okay, so for example, if I take the example, so if a customer sends a request to transfer the money from one account to another account, then the bank must have a proof that the customer has requested for the transaction. So you get the UTR and all those numbers. Okay, so bank is very much aware that from whom the transfer has initiated and to whom the amount or the request is required to be delivered. Okay, next important aspect. So when you are saying the privacy, when you are talking about the privacy, okay, so privacy, that is the concept or the message must be rendered as opaque to all unauthorized parties. Okay, so message should not be disclosed or aware that whoever has sent the information. So it must be rendered as opaque to all other unauthorized parties. Okay. So the good encryption oblique decryption method or the technique is used to achieve the privacy to some extent. Okay. And third very important aspect, that is the technique ensures the eavesdropper cannot understand the contents of the message. That's the reason I try to put this picture there. Your document should not be available to the eavesdropper to see that what all contents are getting transferred at any point of time. Okay, so next important thing, to encrypt or decrypt the message, that's the reason we use the various encryption and decryption. Okay, so when you are saying encryption, so it means that the sender converts the original information into another form and sends the unintelligible message over the network. That is what is the encryption. So when you are saying a decryption, so it reserves the encryption process in order to transform the message back to the original form. So that is what is decryption. Okay, so before you put any of the packet over the network, your information or your packet should be in the encrypted format. Okay, so once the entire message will be delivered, okay, to the receiver, then the decryption process will be initiated and your information will turn back into human readable form. Okay, so if you are saying the methods, so two types of methods are there. Okay, so there are two types of encryption and decryption methods. So privacy with the secret key encryption or decryption, and privacy with public key encryption or decryption. Okay. So encryption decryption technique, when we are saying, so the secret key encryption decryption and public key encryption decryption. Okay. So first of all, we will take the privacy with secret key encryption decryption. So when you talk about this, so what is expected in this case is that in the secret key encryption decryption technique, the same key, okay, when you talk about this, the same key is used by both the parties, that is the sender and receiver is going to use the same key for encryption and the same key for decryption also. Okay, so the sender uses the secret key and encryption algorithm to encrypt the data, and the receiver uses this key and the decryption algorithm to decrypt the data. All right. And when you talk about the algorithm, so algorithm used for encryption is the inverse of the algorithm used for decryption. Okay, so you use an algorithm to encrypt some certain information, and you are going to use an inverse of that particular algorithm to get the decrypted data to be delivered. If you see here, so the sender will be sending a plain text. Okay, so this is getting encrypted with some secret key. Okay, so the ciphertext we have received, this ciphertext is going to be passed on to a network, and as soon as it will reach to the destination, so with the same secret key, it is going to be decrypted. But the algorithm which will be used, that is going to do an inverse functionality. Okay, so which will convert the ciphertext to the plain text. So if you talk about the secret key algorithm, so secret key algorithm is also known as symmetric encryption algorithm, because the same secret key is used in the bidirectional communication. Okay, so in the secret key encryption decryption algorithm, when you talk about, the secret code is used by the computer to encrypt the information before it sends over the network to another computer. Okay, so if you talk about the advantages, the most important thing is that the efficiency. Okay, so it is very efficient. So the secret key algorithm are more efficient as it takes lesser time. Okay, so it takes lesser time to encrypt the message than to encrypt the message by using a public key encryption algorithm. Okay, so the reason for this is that, what is the reason? The size of the key is very small. Okay, so the size of the key is going to be very small, due to which whatever information is being encrypted can be easily decrypted. Okay, so due to this reason, secret key algorithms are mainly used for encryption and decryption. Okay, next very important thing, that is your disadvantages. So if I'm talking about the disadvantages, what is the disadvantage of secret key? Okay, so disadvantages, if I'm saying, so disadvantages can be each pair of users must have a secret key. So how the secret key is going to be handed over? Okay, so if the number of people wants to use the same method in the world, okay, if it is n, then there are n into n minus 1 divided by 2 secret keys are there. So if I am taking the example like 1 million people are there, then there are half a billion secret keys will be there. Okay, so the distribution of keys, so that is the major drawback or problem or whatever you say. So that is the main disadvantage, that how these secret keys will be maintained, how these secret keys will be shared among users. Okay, so how so this problem can be resolved by combining the secret key encryption or decryption with the public key encryption decryption algorithm. Okay, so just 1 second. Turn this off. Yeah. Yes. So next most important aspect, that is the public key encryption. So when you are talking about public key encryption method, so there are two keys in public encryption, that is a private key and the public key. So when you are saying a private key, it is given to the receiver while the public key is provided to the public. Okay, so whenever your plain text will be entering into the network, okay, your information, your plain text will be converted into the ciphertext, okay, and post that the private key is given to the receiver, whatever has been said. Okay, so the private key is given to the receiver while the public key is provided to the public. Okay, so if you see this diagram, it has entered into the network. Okay, from the network again ciphertext has traveled and it has reached to the destination. So your decryption took place. Okay, decryption took place with what? With the private key. Okay, and public key is available from here. So a combination of these key, that is the public key and the private key, your ciphertext will be converted into the plain text. Okay, so when you are talking about the advantages, so the main restriction of the private key encryption is the sharing of secret key. So how the sharing of secret key is going to happen? Okay, this is what we are going to learn, that how the private key and the public key can be generated over the Amazon AWS. Okay, so we are going to host a small, hands-on we'll try to do, where we are going to host a website or an application, and we will try to access the particular website by using the secret key or the private key. Okay, so advantages when we are saying, so there are the number of keys in public key encryption is reduced tremendously. For example, for 1 million users to communicate, only 2 million keys are required. Okay, that is twice the number of keys. Okay, not a half billion keys in the case of your earlier one, that is your privacy with the secret key encryption method. Okay, so here you will be generating only 2 million keys. Okay, that we will see in a practical part. Okay, so if you try to compare both of these, so define, if I try to say that basic comparison, so when you try to define, the secret key encryption is defined as the technique that uses a single shared key to encrypt and decrypt the message. Okay, and the public key, when you are talking about the public key encryption, which is defined as the technique that uses two different keys for encryption and decryption. All right, okay, so when you talk about the efficiency, the secret key encryption, when we talk about, so it is more efficient as this technique is recommended for large amount of text. Okay, so if you talk about the public key encryption, it is inefficient as this technique is used only for the short messages. You cannot do it for longer messages. Okay, other name if you are saying, so it is also known as your symmetric key encryption. Okay, symmetric key encryption, and it is also will be used for your asymmetric key encryption. When you talk about the speed, okay, so which is very essential part. So when you talk about the speed, so the speed will be higher in case of your secret key encryption, but if you talk about the speed the at the public key encryption, this here, so it is slow as it uses two different keys. Both keys are related to each other through the complicated mathematical processes. Okay, so if you want to use the public key encryption, then your system or your way of handling the things should be very essentially. Okay, you'll be using a good technology or the good hardware if you are saying this. Okay, so algorithms, if I'm talking about, so the secret key algorithms, which are DES, 3DS, okay, AES and RCA, okay, and the public key algorithms, Diffie-Hellman and RSA. So when you talk about the purpose, so the main purpose of the secret key algorithm is to transmit the bulk data, whereas the main purpose of public key algorithm is to send or is to share the keys securely. Okay. Next is very important aspect again, that is your digital signature. Okay, so when you are saying digital signature, so it is nothing but a digital signature is a mathematical technique. These days many of us are using the digital signature also. So it is a mathematical technique which validates the authenticity and integrity of the message, okay, or software or the digital document, any of the digital document when we talk about. So okay, so what it does, so it allows us, so it basically allows us to verify that who's the author, when the document was created, that is the date and the time of the signatures, and authenticate the message contents. Okay, and secondly, when we talk about the digital signature, so it offers far more inherent security and intended to resolve the problems of tampering and impersonation. That is impersonation, when we are saying that is intentionally copy another person's characteristics. Okay, so it can be controlled by using your digital signatures, okay, in the digital world. Okay. So the next most important aspect, so the computer based business information authentication that interrelates both the technology and the law. Okay, so why we are talking about this, because when you talk about the digital signatures, these signatures can be purchased, can be bought from any of the service provider, that is your certificate authority, that is your CA. All right, or there are various other mechanisms are also available using which you can generate your own key. That part also we are going to see, okay, that how you can generate your own security key over the Amazon AWS, right, Amazon Web Service. We'll see that. Okay, so it also calls for cooperation between the people of different professional backgrounds and the area of expertise. All right, so the digital signatures are different from other electronic signatures, not only in terms of process and result, but also it makes digital signatures more serviceable and more legal. Okay, so some electronic signatures that legally recognizable as signatures may not be secure as digital signatures and may lead to uncertainty and the disputes. Okay, so when you talk about the application, so the application, you can say that the authentication, non-repudiation, and the integrity, that is the main aspect of your digital signature or the positive part of your digital signature. So if you talk about the authentication, so what is an authentication? So authentication is nothing but is a process which verifies the identity of a user who wants to access the system. Okay, so in a digital signature, your authentication helps to authenticate the sources of the message, that who has initiated the message. Okay, who has initiated the message. Whereas if you talk about the non-repudiation, as we have discussed, so it means the assurance of something that cannot be denied, like we talked about the bank example. Okay, so it ensures that someone to a contract or communication cannot later deny the authenticity of their signature on a document or in a file, or the sending of a message that they originated. Okay, so today we will take few of the questions also from the earlier sessions. Okay, we'll try to address few of the queries as well. So when you talk about the integrity also, integrity ensures the message is real, whatever you are seeing, that is real, okay, accurate, and safeguards from the unauthorized user modification during the transmission. Okay, so if you talk about the algorithm, so how the digital signatures can be generated, so the key generation algorithms are available basically. Okay, so three algorithms which exist, that is the key generation algorithm. So it selects the private key randomly from a set of possible private keys. Okay, and this algorithm provides the private key and its corresponding public key. Okay, using which you can generate your digital signature. We will see that how the digital signatures can be generated. Okay, I will forward you an initial document on how the Amazon AWS account can be created, and I'll also show you at this point of time that how you can create the account, and later on what all you will see over the Amazon AWS dashboard, just to give you the real feeling that when you host your website over the over any kind of service provider, so how exactly it looks like. Okay, your Amazon AWS, which is available free of cost, you don't have to pay anything. Okay. And coming back to this, the digital signature algorithm, so number two will be your signing algorithm. Signing algorithm, when you talk about, so it is a this algorithm, that is a signing algorithm, produces a signature for the document. Okay, and this signature you are going to use it. Okay, and then the third aspect would be your signature verifying algorithm. So that is a signature verifying algorithm either accepts or rejects the document's authenticity. Okay, next most important aspect, that how the digital signatures work. Okay, so basically when you create a digital signatures, these are created and verified by the public key cryptography. Okay, which is again a new terminology, public key cryptography, all which is also known as your asymmetric cryptography. Okay, so by the use of public key algorithm such as RSA, one can generate two keys that are mathematically linked. That is, one is a private key and another one is public key. You basically try to link these two keys, that is a public and the private. All right, mathematically you are going to link. Okay, that is, one is private key and another one is public key. That is why I'm repeating. Okay, so the user, when it comes to a user, okay, so who wants to create a digital signature, uses their own private key to encrypt the signature related to a particular document. Okay, and there is only one way to decrypt that document, that is with the use of signer's public key, that whoever is going to sign, its public key only is going to use to decrypt the document or the message. And when you talk about the technology, so this requires that all the parties to trust that the individual who creates the signature has been able to keep their private key secret. Okay, so since you are talking about a private key, if I am having my own private key, I should not be sharing it to someone else. Otherwise, what will happen? Using the public key and the available private key, the information can be stolen. Okay, so if someone has access to signer's private key, there is a every possibility that they could create fraudulent signatures in the name of the private key holder. Okay, so the steps which are followed in creating a digital signatures. Okay, so I'll just tell you the steps. That is, number one, a file to be digitally signed, you require this here at this sender's part. Okay, the hash value of the message or the file content is calculated. So whatever file you are going to give it as an input, it will be calculated here. Okay, okay, and then this message or file content is encrypted by using a private key of a sender to form the digital signature. Okay, now the original message or the file content along with the digital signature is transmitted. Okay, then what, when it goes to the receiver, that is when it comes here. Okay, so the receiver decrypts the digital signature by using a public key of a sender, public key of a sender, and the receiver now has the message or the file contents and can compute it. Okay, and at the last, comparing these computed message or the file content with the original computed message, the comparison needs to be the same for ensuring the integrity. Okay, so when it comes to the types of digital signature, that is your different document processing platforms that supports the different types of digital signatures. Those can be your certified signatures, approval signatures, visible digital signature, and invisible digital signature. Okay, so when it comes to the integrity, so normally we talk about the certified signatures. Okay, so the certified signature documents display a unique blue ribbon across the top of the document. Any of the document which you see with the blue ribbon, it means it comes with the certified blue signatures or the certified signatures, and the certified signature contains the name of the document signer and the certificate issued with the which indicates the authorship and the authenticity of the document. Okay, so next most important aspect, that is your visible digital signature. So when you talk about the visible digital signature, it means it will allow a user to sign a simple document digitally. Okay, so this signature appears on a document in the same way as signatures are signed on a physical document. Okay, you'll be able to see the same document you might have seen also. Okay, when you talk about invisible digital signature, so invisible digital signature carries a visual indication of a blue ribbon within a document in the taskbar. Okay, and we can use the invisible digital signatures when we do not have or do not want to display our signature but need to prove the authenticity of the document, its integrity and its origin. Okay, so today the most important aspect, why I'm trying to tell you certain aspects, that is your security and privacy, these two things. When you talk about these two things today, we have discussed only this because these two things we are going to see that how the implementation takes place over the AWS, that is your Amazon Web Service. Okay, now when you talk about the Amazon AWS, all right, so what I'll do now, I'll just stop my sharing and I will go to the browser now. All right, so I'll be stopping my I'm stopping my share screen share, and now we will try to see that. Okay, all right, now my browser is visible. Please, yeah, browser is visible now. I've opened the Google Chrome. Yeah. All right. So what we are going to do here is we'll try to see that what is the role of Amazon. Amazon, everyone is aware of that what Amazon does. And when you talk about the Amazon AWS, Amazon AWS is the aws.amazon.com. Okay. So when you go here, so normally this is nothing but is your a cloud service based platform. So this platform will help you to create any of the services which are available. I think most of you had most of you are aware of that when you say Amazon AWS, AWS is nothing but Amazon Web Service. Okay, so this provides you the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, application as a service, whichever way you want to have your interaction with the system, it will allow you to do that. Okay, so that's the reason you are seeing this analytics, application integration, augmented reality and virtual reality, the cost management. You can implement the blockchain also, which was a part of the workshop also, which you have learned what is a blockchain and all. Okay, then the business application, any kind of thing which is available. You can have your own compute cluster also over the Amazon AWS. Okay, you can maintain your containers. These containers will help you to manage your application. The huge containers can be created where you can store your application, your details, your customer IDs, your service, whatnot. Everything can be done. Okay, then the customer engagement. You can meet certain customers. That's the reason this cloud service came into the picture, where the Cisco WebEx and rest of all the things. These are nothing but these are the applications. Okay, these are applications which is hosted on a cloud environment, and wherever you will find the nearest cloud, you are going to host their service, or nearest DC, they are going to host your service. Okay, then your database, all type of databases which exist over this planet or in the current worlds are available over the Amazon AWS. Developer tools also it provides, end user computing, gaming also is possible, mobile apps, machine learning, all those things. There are plenty of things which can be done. Okay, so if you see one by one, there are Hadoop clusters and all, everything can be created. Okay, so if I say see Amazon Sumerian, so build and run the VR and AR application, so it supports. All right, so but the beauty of this is that all these things comes free of cost. Okay, all these things comes free of cost for 12 months, the free tier Amazon provides. Okay, so how you can take the advantage of this for learning, learning your how to host the website, how to generate the security key, how to run an server, how to run a service over a server. Okay, how the instance can be created, how the database can be linked. Okay, so the entire thing is possible over the Amazon. Okay, so Amazon AWS. Okay, so now to avail all these services, there are only 500 emails or 300 emails to many of the people at once. Okay, so many a times what happens, you try your email address will be marked as spam. So those kind of email addresses, the Amazon, this particular AWS will not entertain. Okay, that is very clearly mentioned actually. Okay, so your email address should be in very good shape. That is number one. Number two is you should have one valid credit card. Now this credit card will never be charged without your say or without your acceptance. Although they save the credit card information, because without credit card information, you will not be able to use the services which are offered by AWS. There are reasons behind it, because they provide you the free tier limit. Okay, free tier limit up to 40 instances in a year for 12 months. Okay, so they are going to provide you the T2. T2 is the smallest instance. Okay, over the EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so we'll see all those things. Okay, so what is required here is once you go to aws.amazon.com. Okay, so once you go there, click on sign into the console. Today the internet is going to be a little bit slow because power failure has happened this morning. Okay, so we'll go here. Okay, so at the bottom you see this create a new AWS account. So I'll be sharing in the form of slides also. So first of all, actually we'll see this. Okay. All right, so are you able to see this? What I'll do, I'll share my screen rather. Good. Okay, fine. All right. So I think you are able to see my screen, and are you able to? You're able to see? Please respond on the chat box. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. So we'll try to see the steps first. So what is important here is you open the Amazon Web Service homepage. Okay. Now, as I said, when you create the AWS account, your email address with which you are going to tag should be in a good shape. Okay. And you must be having a credit card information and a phone number. Only these three things, rather three things are required. Okay. So if you signed into AWS recently, choose the sign into the console. If create a new account isn't visible, first choose sign into the different account and then choose create a new AWS account. Okay, then you enter valid credentials, email address as login, contact info, payment info, and the identity verification. Okay, so identify verification. So one code will be sent to your your email address as well as your phone number. Okay, along with one activation link. Okay. And by using a combination of these two, you will be able to activate your account. Okay, and then you need to you need to select a support plan. So here you are required to choose the basic option. Don't choose any other option, otherwise it will be charged. Okay, so basic option is available, so it is very nicely run through. We'll see that. Okay, so we are not paying any monthly fee. So if you talk about the basic support, it comes with free of cost. It comes free of cost. Okay, so this is what the screen looks like. So there are two things. Okay, that is, one type is logging in by using root. Okay, when you are talking about the when you are talking about when you are talking about the root user means root user is the topmost level of accessing any of the mechanism. Okay, so either you can go as a root user if you are not the owner of the account and someone else has given you the privileges. You can use the IAM, that is the identity and access management. Okay, it is nothing but it will enable you to manage the access to AWS services and resources securely. Okay, so using IAM you can create and manage AWS users and the groups. Okay, so basically IAM is used to create a group of users by for defining various roles. Okay, so you can act or you can be at any of the role. Okay, so that can be done. Now the process of registration we'll try to see. I try to gather some document on this. Right, so it'll take a while. Just yeah. Okay, so account sign up, when you are saying, so you need to open the AWS homepage, choose create an AWS account. Okay, so this is you are going to do. Enter your account information, choose personal or professional. So here you are going to choose the personal account. Don't pick this. Okay, right? Features will be same, but it's always better to go with the personal account. Okay, so enter your company. Okay, since you are going with the personal, so you can write anything. Okay, or the personal information. Important for professional AWS account, it's the best practice to enter the company's phone number rather than over the personal. Okay, so read and accept, then create and continue. Okay, so at this stage, after step number 7, you are going to receive an email confirmation that your account has been created. Okay, you can then sign into new account using the email address and the password you registered with. Okay, however, you cannot use the AWS services until you finish your activation service. Okay, so when you are saying activation service, activation of the account only will happen after you add the payment mechanism. They are very particular about this. Okay, or since they are offering it for free of cost, they want to ensure that whatever services they are offering, okay, user should be using only that. Beyond that, you'll not any of the user, if they try to create, the bills will be generated and payment will be deducted from the card. So you should be a little bit cautious. Otherwise, alerts you will be getting that this is going to be the charge, this is what is going to happen, but it will not be deducted unless and until you give a permission to do so. Okay, so on the payment information page, enter the information about your payment method and then choose to verify and add. So if you want to use a different billing address for your AWS billing information, okay, use a new address. Your address is also required to be given. The verified address, again I'm saying it has to be a verified address. Verified phone number. The phone number should be on your name. Okay, so enter a phone number where you can be reached in the next few minutes. Enter the code displayed and the captcha and then hit submit. Okay, so it's pretty much a self-driven thing. Okay, so in a few moments an automated system will contact you that how the whether the identity which was provided in the system belongs to you only. The system will ensure. Okay, so enter the pin you receive and choose to continue. Okay, and then the third step, that is choose an AWS plan. As I said, you have to pick a basic plan. Okay, normally your accounts activated instantly. Okay, but now since COVID and rest of the things are going, it might take up to 24 hours, but in normal case the account gets activated instantly. Okay, you can sign into your is AWS account during this time. The AWS homepage might display a complete sign up button during this time, even if you are completed all the steps of the sign up process. So when your account is fully activated, you'll receive a confirmation email. Okay, so check your email. If not in a regular email, it might go into spam also. You can see that how your email settings normally has happened. Okay, so that's the reason. If it, even though it is coming from Amazon, your Gmail or Reddit or Yahoo, they recognize it as a spam because this is an Amazon is an advertisement site. Okay, so that's the reason there is a possibility that it can go into spam also. Okay, so after you receive this email, you have full access to all AWS services. Okay, so there I tried to add some troubleshooting also. Okay, so in case of any kind of delay, what you are required to do, it is mentioned on their website also. Okay, so I tried to jot down everything at one single place. So they'll try to deduct $1, that is about 70-75 rupees at once, and then it will come back to you. Okay, so once the amount will be deducted, within 3 to 5 days they are going to give it back to you. Okay, so this is the basic method of doing it. So if I click this, so let's see, will take me to another console. So here the basic information I need to provide. See, that's what it is saying. So it includes 12 months free tier access. Okay, so this free tier comes with your EC2, your Amazon S3, and your DynamoDB. Okay, Amazon. So one database. Okay, one is it can be used as yes, it will accept the RuPay card also. Not to worry. Any credit card, okay, credit card or debit card, anything which is a valid debit card. Okay. So Amazon EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. S3 can be used as secondary folder where you can dump your files and all. Okay. So if you want to see that what all services I'm going to offer, what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not supposed to do, so so I'll see if it is not accepting the RuPay card, you need to contact to your bank first, because in some of the cases RuPay card is not designated to pay the international transactions. Okay, so for international transactions, you have to talk to your bank and ask them to enable it. Okay, so normally it comes as a disable, but since the billing is happening in US dollars, so it should be enabled from the bank only. Okay, so you can call to your customer care and ask them to enable for international transfers. Okay, so then it will work. Okay, so is it this? Okay, so now we will try to go into our account which I have just created, right? Sorry. So let's see. Okay, so this will give me a basic, account. I tried. I've used rather not tried. I have used rather this document only. Okay, this document only to create the account. Okay, so you can use this for creating the account and the activation also. See here I can see uh, this is the this is the dashboard as soon as you log on to your account. Over and over this, three things are visible. That is my account, my organization, my billing dashboard, and all. So security credentials and also this is the important aspect which we are talking about. Okay, so identity and the access management. Okay, so this is the beauty of Amazon. See, all these things are coming free of cost to you, right? In your 3 tier, 12 months, you use whatever you want, but with the free tier only. Okay, few restrictions are there. If you follow, you get a free account. Okay, and here, see this list. Okay, I'll just click go back. Right? So it will take me to my region. Okay, so now here, if you see US East, North Virginia, Ohio, North California, Oregon. So can anyone say that what all these information talks about? Any guesses? Any logic behind what is this? You can respond it over the chat box. Yeah, this is nothing but their data centers. Okay, data centers of your Amazon AWS. So these many data centers exist. Okay, now every time whenever you pick up your account, where your account should be posted or parked, okay, you should always be picking up the nearby center. Okay, see, likewise in India I have picked up the Mumbai since it is nearest location to me. Okay, so likewise uh, these locations, see, US East, East 2, West, West 1, West 2, South, there is only one. Okay, so AP, when you are saying, that is Asia Pacific. Okay, so Canada, it comes as CA, that's the government thing which we have learned in the DNS, during DNS. EU is European Union. Okay, so Ireland, Frankfurt, Ireland, London, Milan, Paris, Stockholm. Okay, so these all are your European East, West, and Central. Okay, so these things are available. Middle East and your South America, where in Sao Paulo in Brazil they have their data center. Okay, so this is very very essential. Okay, so when we will try to see certain aspects of this, that how the things can happen. Okay, so here this is very very interesting from the perspective. So if you see on the left hand side, these are the services. See, even though I am over the free tier, I should be able to access everything which is available over the AWS. So this account is pretty much similar to your business account. You can use everything which is available, but with the limitation, the basic, okay, which you can use. All right. Okay. So another important aspect when you are saying um, this is this talks about your compute. So when you are saying compute, so you'll be having EC2, Lightsail, Lambda, Batch, Elastic Beanstalk. Okay, that is your EBS, serverless application repository, and AWS Outpost, ET2, EC2, image builder, and all. Okay, so the storages which you can pick, all these are different types of storages which are available. Okay, so you can pick anything, but with some limitation. 8 16 GB, it comes with the free. It tells you, normally it tells you. Okay, so for now what I'll do, uh, these all these, see, anything you can do, you can create, you can implement the machine learning concepts also. No need of getting higher end servers, higher end machines. No, everything is virtually possible. You don't have to go there. Okay, you don't have to actually go behind maintaining the hardware and resources. Okay, so you click on the EC2. So now why I have selected EC2, because I want to see that what is a compute thing. Okay, so when I'm saying a compute, so here this is the dashboard of Amazon EC2. That is here Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay, so this small message, they are trying to redesign something. All right, so the console. All right, so when you are talking about this, here inside the resources, you will be able to see that how many instances I have, how many dedicated hosts I have. I have tried to create the volumes, different volumes. Okay, and the key pairs, public private key. So this is the most important aspect. We'll try to see that. Okay, and the security groups, how many security groups I have implemented. Okay, so if I'm clicking on this, it will show me that how many instances basically I have created, okay, with the IP address. All right, so the instances, so if I select one instance, it will tell me that what is the IP address. But currently, if you use this IP address, this is my IP address of the instance which is running in Bombay with the t2.micro. Okay, so this instance, if I you cannot hit this IP because I have kept it as private IP, right? So that if you are within the premises, then and then only you'll be able to access, because I did not made it available publicly. Okay, so this is just for testing purpose, right? So we created an instance. So if you see the state of the instance, you can do that. And if I'm seeing the, so here you'll be able to see the status checks also. See instance. Okay, so the instance type, instance state, so it is running. Okay, so running state, it is micro, t2.micro instance I have used. That is the smallest available instance. Okay, tomorrow, in during the tomorrow's session, I'll try to show you that how the instance can be created, how the instance can be plugged in, and how to access that instance. Because this entire EC2 can be accessed within this dashboard only. Okay, so I cannot click anything. Okay, I cannot click or upload anything. For that you require certain tools. Okay, so to upload your files and all, right? So this is a simple simply visible thing. All right, so here your how many RAM is available and okay, so what findings. Okay, so AWS Compute Optimizer delivers finding from an analysis, okay, of your Amazon CloudWatch matrix and configuration data from the last 14 days. So it is basically when you are talking about the findings, there is a reason behind this why I'm showing you the findings, because it tries to maintain your information, your logs for past 14 days, what you did. Okay, so this compute optimizer also, it will recommend you to resize your EC2 instances as per the requirement. Okay, so if you enable it for from the perspective of auto scaling, so you can do that also. Okay, so this optimizer recommendations refresh daily, and AWS resources do not have recommendation until they have been running for at least 30 hours. So this is the minimum time span will be running your application. Okay, so your private IPs, this is my private IP which we try to create, and this is my public IP. Okay, all right. So two types of IPs I'll be getting, and then the beauty of this, that is your AMI. Okay, so this AMI basically provides you the different images which is normally available. So we'll try to see. So this is the EC2 image builder. Okay, your images can be built, images in the form of like your different IT related requirements. Okay, you normally prepare it for the computer, the image, the OS, the application, everything. You can take a snapshot of that. You can have your own image built and post from here. Okay, just try to click and see that what all things are available within your EC2. Okay, so here if we are saying how many volumes are there, so try to create 4 different volumes. See, this comes with the 8 GB of memory with 100 IOPS. So when you are saying IOPS, which is related to memory, that is input output per second. Okay, so 100 parallel input outputs I can do for 1 year free of cost, no charges. All right, so this can be used. Okay, here few things are available which we can see the types. Okay, so see the requested number of input output operation per second that the volume can support. So this volume, the volume um, which we have created for free of cost, it can support up to 100 IOPS. Okay, so for provision, this is not a provision thing, so this is provisioned IOPS. For the SSD volumes, we can provision up to 50 IOPS per GIB. Okay, so per gigabit you can have 50 IOPS. Okay, but this is, I've not used the provisioned one, so that's the reason I'll be getting 100 input outputs per second. All right, and yeah, so I have the nothing has been created, reports. Okay, so usage reports I'll be able to generate. It is moved, they have moved it to some other place. Okay. So this is the billing dashboard actually. Okay, so what all bills I am getting. So this invoices, see, it is 0 0 nothing. Okay, so this will show me today's exchange rate also, dollar. Right, so everything is 0. Right, I tried to do so many stuff in there. Okay, so this much of data I have sent it across, but nothing has been charged. Okay, so this is the beauty of this. Right, so if you have the academic or institutional email IDs, you can get some credits also, but you have to talk to them. You have to send an email and get the things done. Right, Okay. All right. So this is what is about. So tomorrow we'll try to launch an instance. Okay. So first of all, what I want you to do today is just create the AWS account. Okay, and get yourself settled in that, just to understand that how the things are. Get registered yourself. Okay, so what are the instances you can have tomorrow? We are going to do this. It's the launch instance. So this we are going to learn tomorrow. Okay, so there I am going to show you that how easily you can find various things as per your requirement and can do this stuff. So it's a another world basically. Okay, so we'll talk about this tomorrow, right? So that's all from my side today. So just I'll be sharing this PDF along with the slides of today's session. Just try to create and ID over the AWS and see that it works for you. All right. So over to you, madam. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you all. So should we end?
yeah, from my side, I'm done.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, participants. So kindly fill the attendance before leaving the session. The link
Yeah.
will be provided to you.
And one thing, whatever questions are there for today's session, just I'm compiling. My compilation is not over yet. So everything will be, you are going to get in the form of documents. So any questions, if you get stuck anywhere, just let me know. We'll try to resolve it. Okay. Or during the session also. Okay. Madam, anything which is related to the AWS specific, which they might have sent it in the chat box, because chat box I'm not able to see now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what has happened. Yeah,
Yes, sir. We'll surely provide you
yeah,
if any queries related to it are there.
sure. Yeah,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
thank
Kindly
you.
fill your attendance before leaving. Thank you all.
Thank you.